Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing Cyber Protocol Prologue for the Nintendo Switch. I was browsing through the list of the latest eShop releases, hoping that something would come along that is a really cheap price but also really good, because I am on a very tight budget and can really only afford renting games or games that are like less than $5. So when this came along and said that the first 10 levels were free and you could pay $1 per additional 10 levels, I thought, that's not a bad price. I'll give the first 10 levels a shot and see how I like them. And I was able to beat them tonight, and I'm able to already give you my thoughts on them, because this isn't the kind of game that requires an intense amount of thought to do. The gist of Cyber Protocol Prologue, you'd be surprised how many takes it took just for me to get the name right, because that's such a tongue twister, is that you control a box, and you move around in a maze, a literal maze, unlike the one in Pac-Man, because you actually do have to get to the end of it, and I just said it. You have to find the space that's the end space to move on to the next level. Along the way, you can collect coins that you can use to purchase additional avatars and goodies, although in the free version you can't really do anything with the coins, so they're kind of just like there to make it seem like it's a Pac-Man clone, I suppose. And then you have to navigate past various obstacles in the maze that kill you in one hit. Usually there's only 1 or 2 checkpoints per level, so you really have to have razor-sharp reflexes if you're going to get through this game. This is not the type of game that you can just casually stroll through and play it just to have a good old time. This game demands you to really be aware of your environment and know how to make split-second decisions, because pretty much everything tries to kill you if you sit still long enough. So it's also the kind of game that encourages speedrunners. It also has an arcade mode in the paid version that I also didn't get access to because, again, I really can't afford too much right now. I'm even scared to buy a cheeseburger nowadays. So I'm happy to say that the 10 levels on display in this free-to-play version are really well designed, especially if you try to 100% them and get all the coins, because, my gosh, this game requires you to pull off some really advanced maneuvers. Now, the trick to the movement in this game is that you only move in one direction at a time until you hit a wall or a solid block. So you can't just freely move around in 2D space like you can in something like The Legend of Zelda. It's more like Pac-Man, where he just keeps on auto-running until you change his direction, but you can't even do that in this game. If you hit the button to the right, you will keep soaring to the right until something stops you or kills you. So you'll definitely want to have a good sense of momentum and where you're going to go. It's really hard to describe what all the various obstacles do without showing you footage, but basically there are squares that become danger zones after you cross them, but then fade back to being innocent. There's also some walls that instantly kill you if you slam into them. There's lasers, and there are these enemies that I like to call traps, because they remind me of the trap enemies in The Legend of Zelda, which cause Link to recoil if he bumps into them when they slide across a hard surface. That's pretty much what these guys do, except you can't really tell if it's hard or not because it's all like neon. So the game has a very 80s type of feel to it. Obviously the graphics look a lot like Pac-Man, and the music is like very heavy on the type of synth that 80s bands really liked. Personally, I found the music to be more of background noise. It didn't really influence my decisions all that much, and I found that the sound effects didn't really add anything to the experience, so you could easily play with them turned off. And one thing that is cool about the music is that it doesn't stop playing if you die. It just keeps on going, which you'd be surprised how many games do not get even that basic feature. So overall, I think you should download it, unless if you're the type of person who's really averse to a stiff challenge. In that case, maybe you might want to pass on this, but if you're the type that really loves puzzle adventure type games, then I could see the free version giving you quite a lot, as 10 levels in and of itself is a decent value for being free. But if you want to 100% the levels and get all the coins, then you have even more value on top of that. And then if you really want to take the plunge, you can pay $1 for each 10 levels. So you can say, okay, I only want 20 more levels, so I'll only pay $2. Or you can pay for the whole package. So overall, it gives you options for how much of the game that you want. Now that I think about it, so much more games should adopt this model. Like, why can't you spend a certain amount of money to get a certain amount of a game? Then again, maybe that's why DLC exists, so I better not open my mouth too much or Nintendo might actually take notice and make another stupid decision. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I know this is on the shorter side, but there's also not much to say about it. It's a cool, very challenging, puzzly game that involves you going through a maze and trying to find the exit. So let me know down in the comment section what you think about it, and before I sign off for the night, I just want to say that yes, I do have a Patreon, and I would like to give an epic shout out to Matthew Rakowski for being my first top tier patron. In addition, I also want to thank my other patrons, Splatcat, Sploon Ghost, and Scooter Doodle, for being my other patrons, especially Sploon Ghost for helping me set up the Patreon. If you want to support me there, the link will be in the description. So until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye!